Oh, look at that. I'm live. I don't even know which angle. Am I looking? There's camera. There's camera. Check, check, check. I'm good. I'm just running this test because I'm in this environment right now. And I called this Justice is Served because I know that's what people have been hearing from me as of late is I'm talking about justice. I've been going through this predicament, we'll say, for the past 2 years, and my entire life has been a fight. Except for the time I spend with my kids, which is it's few and far between. Not by choice. The kids are with me on this fight, and it just sucks for them because they're still too young to truly understand what this is all about, and they know it's for them, but it sucks. Getting their phones turned off and uh, having to be pushed out of their home. Like, this is all kids know. They know their homes, they know their bedrooms, they know their schoolmates. Like, that's when I didn't really understand when Vinny was going through his thing. I didn't understand that was all he knew. So I really wasn't listening. I was listening, but I wasn't hearing him when he was saying, hey, this is really this pandemic thing is driving me crazy. I didn't understand until I was until I learned what I learned at the hospital about other teenagers, and then I realized, okay, well, I'm projecting my life experience into his life experience, and I'm not really listening to him. So I try to do a much better job now at listening to people and trying to understand what their life experience is before I project mine onto theirs. Because what I've realized through this entire experience is there's not a lot of people like me, and that's, I don't know if that's good or bad. But I think when we get to the core of each of us as individuals, we realize how very similar we are when it comes to the things we desire as human beings, but how different we are when it comes to our programming, the nuances that make us who we are, or each these individual iterations of whatever the divine is, whatever you want to call God, whether we're these quantum light waves flying through infinite space-time, stagnated in these bodies, or in suspended animation in these bodies, or spiritual beings having a human experience. We were all one at one point, even through quantum physics, through quantum entanglement, we were all one. So this whole field is trauma, right? And each of us are our processor for trauma. It's broken for most of us, or not broken beyond repair, but inhibited by the time we're 3 years old, and we're given these personalities. We're told who we are. We're indoctrinated in these systems, at religions, schools, all that, languages. You're this, you're that. We didn't have a choice in none of that shit. So when I'm dealing with these guys that infringed on me, I try to take that into account when I'm dealing with them. And that's where I've gotten the confessions from, is that psychologically I play a role. I don't have a staff, right? I don't have a staff. I don't have people writing all these documents for me. And what I've realized about the system is this system, not what the Declaration of Independence set forth. That was based on truth, justice, and liberty. But the system that we exist in now was built for liars by liars. Because here's the thing. Truth doesn't need to be quiet. Truth doesn't need technicalities. Truth needs none of that. Truth just is the truth and can speak the truth. So it's funny when I'll have, my attorneys say, you can't say that. Motherfucker, I can. That's the truth. And I'm going to say the fucking truth. Why would I have to hide the truth? Based on what? What consequences are going to come my way for being honest? I realize that consequences can come your way because there's a system built by liars for liars. The only people who want technicalities are people who plan on committing crimes, right? So this system is built on those technicalities. Do it this way, this way, this way. Don't say that, or you could get charged with that. Don't say this, or it's for people who want to play the game and they have a money agenda attached to. I don't have any fucking money agenda attached to what I'm doing. I have justice. So I put my final offer out to these guys, and I have to keep a money amount attached to it because that's what's going to drive into their psyches, right? It's going to get into their fucking, their subconscious, and it might make them better if they have to suffer a little bit per their egos. So it's funny. I think they think that this is all about money. I have no vested interest whatsoever in divulging to them the proofs that I have, right? Like, and I know there's attorneys that would say, don't say that because we can get them. We can get them. I got them. They're done. I've had them since day one. But my entire focus here has been to try to bring light forth through a shitty situation in guys that I know weren't equipped as me to navigate a scenario like this. It's not fair to my kids, so it has to be over, and it's going to be over on September 27th. They're done. The truth comes out, and I've been saying the truth. It's not that it's going to come out. I've been saying it the whole fucking time. It's just now people are going to be like, oh, because nobody believes you can do something in the name of integrity, birth something forth in the name of integrity for the sake of integrity. Now, I will have walked these horses to water, and look, you can walk a horse to water, and you can kick that dumb motherfucker in and tilt its face upside down, and it still doesn't have to drink, right? So that's kind of the situation I'm in right now. But in the example that I'll be able to birth forth through them, you'll see at the microcosm what happens to people on a daily basis through the macrocosm of this system, where people are taught to keep your mouth shut, be conflict averse, don't say this, don't say that. Oh, you're just being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. No, that's not even possible. You look, the system that we're in right now, it's scary, the level of indoctrination. And I don't put myself above anybody. I'm as indoctrinated as the next person. The difference between me and a lot of people right now is I admit that I'm indoctrinated. So because I admit that I'm indoctrinated, I learned this through PTSD, cognitive processing therapy. As long as I can admit that I'm indoctrinated, then I can say when it happens, accept it for what it is. Then I can ask myself the question, is this an indoctrination, or is this real? You know what I mean? Like, almost always it's indoctrination. Most of what I consider, or what our visceral responses, they come from the wrong place, right? Like, because there's no point in human existence right now where we're really, really, really fighting for survival, right? We're not. We're in a different time in humanity, but we feel like we are. You know, as soon as you get struck with that anger and you're like, oh, there's no point in like our daily lives where I still do it. I'm not saying that I'm not accustomed to having those outbursts, but at least I can pull myself back when I have them and say, what was that? You know what I mean? And I might do it to myself. Like if I'm in the moment and I'm letting loose, I'm defending myself, and this part of my brain has not grown past survival. So it thinks I'm in front of I say it all the time, a saber-toothed tiger, but really somebody just made fun of my shoes or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So that's the situation I find myself in now. And I've known that I've had what I've had since day one, because I know the truth. I didn't do anything. I was 110% oblivious to what these guys had cooking behind the scenes. Had no idea, none. Borrowed $50,000 cash to pay for their mistakes, and still had no clue. And even when the first accusation was made, I laughed at it, because I'm like, that's so fucking hilarious. Say that, like, I can't even believe it. And Patrick was prone to saying dumb shit all the time. So I just thought, it's just one of his slips, you know what I mean? But it wasn't. They were brewing something. Yes, he was manipulated by Kurt, 100%. It was a combination. They're both guilty for what they did, but somebody had to guide him, because he doesn't do anything independently. He doesn't. Somebody's with, you know what I mean? But so anyway, so now we get to the point where on September 27th, the proof that they quashed in the very beginning, I let them quash it. I could have came back and got it. I don't have time for that shit. You know what I mean? And I thought, like, maybe one of two things were going to happen. If I gave them enough time, they might see the wrong in their ways, and they might step forth into integrity, or they were, through their actions, they were going to prove conspiracy. It was going to come, because here's my theory. If you're the truth and you have the wherewithal and resilience to stand in the face of the consequences that a society built on lies will throw at you for being the truth and standing in it, if you can withstand that, the truth will reign supreme, because the lie will ultimately tell on itself through its actions, right? And that's what they did. Every step they took proved that they were involved in something shady from the beginning. I knew that would happen if they didn't step into integrity. Why I feel bad about them, they're not built for jail. You know what I mean? I have no vested interest whatsoever in divulging what I have at my disposal come the 27th, and then whatever goes beyond that. I don't know the system that well. All I know is they're guilty, you know, and I guess the only vested interest I have is there's this slight possibility that, you know, I'm tragically optimistic, and that's what I'm going to get into here, because this really isn't all about them. I'm tragically optimistic, and that in the back of, you know, somewhere in me, there's this hope that we all have. This fucking, it's hope that guides us through life. We think we lost hope, but we didn't, because if we did, we'd kill ourselves. Like, if we really if we were hopeless completely, that's why I don't really understand what it is to be fully suicidal. I can contemplate it, but I've never been there. I can stand on the abyss and look in through friends that have committed to, but I just I don't know what that darkness is to let it all go and believe that, because I would have, you know what I mean? But it's truly hope. That's our fuel. That's what keeps us at hope, compassion, in that we can believe in our fellow humans, and sit with them in their suffering, and maybe get to this place where we realize that we're all wanting the same thing, and that we're stronger together rather than divided. There is that hope. So maybe there's a point where they say, yeah, we fucked up. I doubt it. I doubt it. I think they're more the victim type, where they're going to sit in their victimhood and say, oh, I can't believe this happened to me, blah, 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 and point the finger at what? I don't know, but such is life. You know what I mean? I have to let it be what it's going to be. But really what I want to talk about is the indoctrination aspect. Like, you know, through everything that I talk about, I hate saying conspiracy theorists, because I know where that term was derived. It was derived after they killed John F. Kennedy. That's when people started spouting that. And all it really means is a theory of a conspiracy. Well, anybody can have a theory that there's a conspiracy, because conspiracies do happen. There are the fanatical people that are just out there. You know, when it comes to flat Earth, I'm not putting anybody down, but things that I can gauge with my own eyes and my own instruments at my own time that I've done throughout my life. When people say they're not true, and I know them to be true based on my own research, not even research, just daily life, or the conspiracy that it would take to try to promulgate something like that, I have to turn the other way. But I understand why people would go there, and why people are so distrustful of everything around them that they would want to latch on to something like that, because they just don't fucking trust you. And it's not even the government. It's when I say the two-party regime, so we have Democrats and Republicans. There's good people in both. There's probably more good people than bad people in both parties. It's just that both parties have been stolen and manipulated to create this system of perpetual conflict. And that perpetual conflict serves this greed base. It's the people who kill presidents, never show their faces. They're the most cowardly of all humans. So that's what we find ourselves in right now. And when I talk about the two-party regime, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm so disappointed that Elon has veered towards, I just thought he was more discerning than this, veered towards Donald Trump. Donald Trump is still represented by the two-party regime. Anybody under the control or pushed into power by the two-party regime, they're going to play ball or they're going to die, period. And what we have now are people talking about civil war. They're talking about civil fucking war. Number one, listen to the term civil war. How fucking stupid is that? How indoctrinated is that? There is no such thing as a civil war. War is the lowest common denominator of humanity. You don't get any lower than fucking murdering your own. And think about it. It's our young that they put out there to murder each other for their own greedy fucking. The last principled war we had was the Revolutionary War. After that, it's been all them. They stole our fucking Declaration of Independence when they broke George Washington, Robert Smith. It was Robert Smith. I think I said his name right. I'm not of the Cure. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, right? And there was one other, John Hancock. So they were the five primary financiers. I could have said some of that wrong. I doubt it, but I might have. But there were five forefathers that were the financiers of the Revolutionary War. George Washington, for example, he was wealthy, and he said, to lead this army, I just need to be reimbursed for what I spent. Well, they didn't. They gave him $8, the equivalent back then, or £8, which would have been 160,000 pounds that he spent on the war. 5 million today. So when they came back from the war and won the war, they were basically busted. And what happened was the financiers, the banking cartels that we know today that have been behind If you look at every great civilization that's collapsed throughout human history, they've been there. They've been there with their money, swooping in at certain times. Like they did it here. And ever since then, it's been them. And now with the advent of technology as we see it, with AI, which they're trying to steal now, it makes them absolutely powerful. Where I am right now is I believe we have this window, right? This window of time. Like now it's like 2 months. And beyond that, I think it gets bloody. But because I do think people will get wise and there will be a revolution, but a civil war only benefits them. So I keep saying this thing, vote for anything but the two. And what does that mean? That means just vote for any fucking candidate that doesn't have the two-party regime's tentacles wrapped around them. Give the fucking two parties a timeout. Let them sit this one out. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do we have to lose by not voting for Trump or Kamala? We have zero to lose by that. We have everything to lose by doing it. Zero to lose by fucking not voting for them. If we were to do that, it would take about 110 million people, which is a third of the fucking population. Third of the population, that's about... I mean, it's a quarter of the voting population that can be registered. But if we were, I think, don't fucking judge my numbers right now because I'm just spouting. I'm just talking right now, and I'll do the math on it later. But I do know it's about 110 million. They wouldn't be able to cheat the vote whatsoever. What did we have last time that voted? It was 150 million. So if we had 110, even less. So even less than 110 million people vote for anything other than these two parties, any candidate, what would happen? Well, I know people fear the silence of the minority, right? But if you had those types of numbers, I don't think you'd have to fear because then your neighbor would know, okay, well, we're safe to put our vote here, elsewhere, put them on timeout. Then you get, what if RFK were to go third party or some party or no party, non-affiliated, and you wrote them in, or somebody else, anybody but them. And it took the two parties out of power. So every fucking person across the ticket was somebody other than the two parties, somebody one other than the fucking candidates in the two parties. We would own the vote again. I say again, I don't think we've ever, or maybe back just after the Revolutionary War, maybe. I don't know. I'm not that deep of a study in history, but I know we don't now. And for my entire lifetime, we haven't owned the vote. We've had this illusion of two parties, which is fascism, disguised by the illusion of choice, disguised, or not disguised, but devised for perpetual conflict. If they can keep us in our amygdalas and beyond, hypervigilant, near a state of fight or flight, we can't get into our neocortex. We can't get into our frontal lobe. The blood doesn't even flow there. So you can't even have a good argument when you're defensive. So if they keep you defensive, fearing for your necessities, which they've stolen. They stole power for profit from Tesla. We're at that right now with AI, and what they want to steal from us, that's not artificial. It's our identities. AI is just an extension of us. It's our collective intelligence. That's it. And they want to trick us into believing it's artificial and that it's going to destroy us. They're making it the confession booth of modern times. Just throw all your bad shit in there, and then just know it's going to kill you eventually because it's bad. Not you, it's bad. There's your scapegoat. Throw it all in there. Throw all your bad human shit in there. That's what these two parties are. Each one is the culmination of every worst part of you. You know what I mean? Stand behind the guise of virtue on the left side. And then on the other side, we got what everybody thought America was, sitting on golden toilets, egotistical, fucking brash. They know how to play our psychology, people. And it's through not succumbing to that I'm going to come out of what I've come out of, hopefully establishing some case law that'll get the American justice system back. I say back to, hopefully onto the premise of truth, justice, and liberty were only things that are that stand or promote or defend truth, justice, and liberty are allowed in that fucking courtroom. Because right now, none of it is. It's all legalese. Legalese was meant to confuse the working class. Nobody can read that shit. Attorneys don't even want to read that shit. None of it even makes sense. Some of it does. I'm not going to bash it all. That would be stupid. But there's some things that makes, for the most part, it's to confuse so that you just give up and throw it away. And then they can use it against you. And that's what would have happened to me. There are so many things that I was told not to do that if I hadn't done, I wouldn't be here. I'm on the cusp of taking them down. They have an out. I'm not trying to, my goal here is not, I don't benefit anything by putting dark on top of dark. So I've tried this entire time to exit this thing with light for everybody to the best of my ability. They were going to put me in jail for something I didn't do to absolve themselves of their crimes. So now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, well, consequences are going to be what they are, and the system's going to have its way. But this was just a quick little, however quick it was, I don't know where I am right now, and I'm messing with the lighting and my extreme close-up. Sorry if I'm, but I just had to get it out because I've been writing it, and I know most people don't read all the writing shit I do. It's tedious for most, but it's not legalese. So you might want to, if you read that, I think you'll understand it because I write it in a way that I think the layperson can understand because I am the fucking layperson. I'm just one who communicates it, whether or not I think anyone's going to read it. I don't care. Like at the end of the day, I just have to get it out or I don't feel like I've done my job. But I love you guys. We got 2 months. I'm going to try, like with whatever I have coming my way, I'm going to try to rally the troops, so to speak, the populace, if I could, if this money comes in that I'm expecting, to vote for anything but the two, to give the two parties. I think we could win our two parties back. We could rescue them. We could rescue the good people in them if we put them on timeout for 4 years. And then we have people that know that we voted for them. And the reason they're in that office is because we put them there. We're going to get the policies we want under that, but it's going to take such an extreme push of humanity. But it would be a nonviolent push of humanity, nonviolent, virtual. For the first time in human history, a nonviolent push of humanity. We haven't had virtual before, to my knowledge. Push towards compassion, because we're not villainizing the people who've done all the bad shit. Like they'll deal with, they have to live with being who they are. But here's the thing. Once we get the power of the vote, once we push them out of power, they're going to have to come back to us and say, hey, well, we got these goods and services, because trust me, all they care about is losing their money and their wealth, their power, so to speak. They're going to come back and they're going to start trying to win the favor because that's all they can do once we have them out of power. But we got to get them out of fucking power. The only way we do that is to vote for anything but the two. I may just be talking out my ass right now because nobody's going to do it. I don't know, but I have faith in you. Or I wouldn't be this. I have other things to do with my time. This is a real thing. And if I can do anything to serve, if you don't think there's a conspiracy of indoctrination, that's a minor conspiracy. Because think of what they do to our young perpetually. They have slaughtered our fucking young, slaughtered them. It's hard to even fucking surmise that somebody could be so evil that they would kill our fucking kids for some problems they didn't create. Think about that. Generation after generation after generation, they kill our fucking kids for problems they did not create, nor do they want. They go to school. They just want the best for their fucking lives. They're told by their parents they're going to get it. And then a fucking draft comes that takes them out of their fucking house and kills them on a battlefield. For what? The last principled war? The Revolutionary War. They've owned us ever since. Vote for anything but the two. If you want to make a difference, if you want to create a future for your children that's worth living, if you love this country, vote for anything but the two. I love you guys. I got to quit ranting now.